Hello, my lovelies. Welcome and welcome back to my YouTube channel. For those who do not know me, my name is Jamie. And today it is time for our monthly play of our TBR game. Yay! So for those who have not been on my channel before, welcome. And this is what I call my Leafy board. Game is simple, just like a regular round of Monopoly. We'll roll the dice and hop all along the board. A lot of these are draw cards with the genre that it lands on. Some of them are roll the dice. If we do get a jail, I will walk you guys through the rules and what we do for that. Hopefully we won't get one. I do need to make some more cards for my board. So if you guys have any TBR jar kind of prompts that would go best with a genre. Let's say we land on a classic book. So things that would fit picking a book in that genre. So if you guys have any ideas for that, please let me know because I have been wanting to get some more cards going. Top shelf is usually my library books. I only have one right now that is in my name and I get to go pick up tomorrow. That would be Good Spirits by B.K. Borison. I would like to read that before winter is done. And then we have our 25 books for 2026 and our 25 series books for 2026. I am super excited to do this again. Last month was a complete success. I was able to get through all of the books that I had last month, and I am so ready to pick the ones for February. So this is kind of like a running theme on my channel so far. I have these little Pokemon figurines that are my pieces on my board, and this month we are having Lapras. So she is going to be our star for this month. So without further ado, we are going to do our first roll to get our first book. Alright, so starting off with our very first roll, we have our Lapras down here. She's just chilling out on the start line. So we are going to start with our first roll. So we got a we got an 8 right at the gate, so that's fun. Alright, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. That is the first time we've had a fantasy. I love what I did with the fantasy one. I got a little elf ear and a little dragon wing. So, I didn't know what to do for fantasy, so we rolled with it. Why, hello. Do not mess with my dice. Do not mess with my Lapras, or you will be banned. Okay, so for our fantasy, we have to do a backlist author. So I get to pick a backlist fantasy author. All right, so a backlist fantasy author. I am actually really excited. So all of these are ones that, you know, I haven't read before, which is why they're up here. Except for Jojo Moyes, but she's not a fantasy. The only thing I have in the back would be Inkspell. And for down here for the series is, I don't know if you would consider the Lunar Chronicles of fantasy. I'm going to have to look that up. So I'm going to double check this one, see if that's a fantasy, because I really do want to read that. Remedy, that's dystopian. Wake at Dawn, that's paranormal. I don't know if Crown of Embers is considered a fantasy. So we'll see. I'll double check that one as well. Death Cure, dystopian, Fade. That's a lot of it. I don't know which ones are considered fantasy or not. So we're gonna have to do a lot of double checking. But well, we'll see. I really do want to read Fade, and it is very tiny, so I would love it if I actually got to do that one. And then I also have Son of a Witch, and I know I also have Harry Potter on the back. Do I want to read the Harry Potter this month? Actually, I'm kind of feeling it. I think what I'll do I want to start that? I don't know if I want to start the Harry Potter. You be good. I see you eyeing my dice. That's what I thought. I don't know. I'm leaning more towards the Harry Potter. Because that would get 2 lists done. It's on both. I have a 25 and my series ones. Ooh. It is shorter than Order of the Phoenix. Do I want to start this really early on in the year? I've been reading a lot of big books recently, and I kind of don't want to put this on there. But I also kind of do. I think we are going to put it on here. Just because for the fact that I do have a lot of comfort authors down here for later on in the year when I do get into a slump. I think we're going to do it. I think we are going to put Harry Potter and the Half-Blood Prince on our TBR. Alright, so we've got our first book. Now it's time to pick our second one. Alright, that one's a 4. So 1, 2, 3, 4. We have to do a nonfiction right at the gate. Okay. Alright, so as far as nonfiction goes, I can either do a memoir or I can do a different kind of nonfiction. Now, I do have one on my shelf already, and to be honest, I kind of want to read this anyway. This is A Chicken Soup for the Soul book, which I have had these forever. And I do really love the Chicken Soup books. For those who don't know what they are, is basically a collection of little short stories from people who've sent in their work. This one wants to be stubborn today, so she's going to hang out in my lap for a while. Aren't you? The Chicken Soups, they are a collection of short stories that people send in dealing with whatever topic. And this one is a couple's soul. So this is going to be a collection of either people who are engaged, who are married, or dealing with issues, dealing with being a couple. So I have been wanting to really dive back into these, and I think that this is going to be a very fast read because I can just read a couple of these a day. I can start it this month and finish it by the end of the month if I wanted to, and just read a couple a day. But this is the only nonfiction one that I have on my shelf, and I really didn't want to pull any from the bookshelf over here. That is going to be our second book pick for February, and it's kind of fitting, to be honest. I didn't think about that. This would be very fitting for this month. You know what I just realized? We went through that whole nonfiction thing, and I didn't even pick a card. Must be a series finisher. So I don't have anything like that. So to be honest, this would be considered a part of a series because the Chicken Soup is a series. So we're going to count that, and we're going to move forward. Because I'm not doing that all over again. So, all right, on to number 3. That is a 1. So we have a 4. So 1, 2, 3, 4. It looks like we're reading a memoir anyway. Good Lord. Okay. So I guess we're just trying to read nonfiction this month. So a memoir must be a book that you've already seen the movie for. So what I think I'm going to do for this, to make this unique, is either someone that is in a movie that I love. We can consider that. So I'm going to do that instead. So it looks like I'm going to have to go on my shelves anyway. Alright, so I'm back, and Luna finally decided that she wants to hang out in her window, finally. So hopefully she won't interfere with this anymore. But I have 3 options. So the first one is Matthew Perry's book, Friends, Lovers, and the Big Terrible Thing. I watched Friends. I watched a couple of episodes, and I really do want to dive more into his life. So that is one option. The second one is Tan France, Naturally Tan. He was on the show Queer Eye, and me and my sister both watched the first 2 seasons, actually, of Queer Eye, and we really, really loved it. So this is definitely a more intriguing option. And then I also have Cher's memoir, and she is one that I know not only as an artist but also as an actress. And I have seen a couple of movies with her, and I do want to learn more about her life too. So this is going to be hard because I do want to read each of these. I think the question is which one am I in the mood for? To be honest, we actually may pick the shortest one. So that leaves Cher out. We'll save her for later. So that leaves us with Matthew Perry or Tan. Let's see who's shorter. I'm kind of hoping... Okay, that's acknowledgements. So 264 for Tan. And let's see how long this is. About acknowledgements. 250. I guess we are doing Matthew Perry in the Friends Lovers, The Big Terrible Thing. I am looking forward to this. I've heard people say that he's also the one who narrates, so I think I'm going to listen to the audio of this one. So this is going to be number 3 for February. Reading a lot of nonfiction this month. Alright, I am really hoping that we do not get a 2. That would be very evil of the board. We're going to roll for number 4. Okay, that was 4. So 1, 2, 3, 4. We are doing a literary. But let's see what this is. And it must be a Spotify choice, so it has to be a literary fiction on my Spotify. So let me evaluate my card real quick. Okay, so this one I had to do a little bit more research on. As far as my Spotify playlist goes, I did not have any of these books, let alone any literary fiction, on my already made audiobook list. So, the second best thing that I decided to do was pick a literary book that I have up here and see if it is on Spotify. Turns out there is the first one, which would be Good Company by Cynthia Sweeney. I have been wanting to read this book. This is one that I've had since working from the library, and I have been really intrigued about it. This one, I believe, is a marriage, motherhood, and friendship literary fiction, which are ones that I really enjoy anyway. It is really short. I love the edges. They're the serrated edges. This is upside down. That is too funny. Okay, let me fix this real quick. But I have been really wanting to read this one in particular, just to kind of get it off my shelf. I don't know if I'm going to like it or not. And I'm figuring out that with some literary fiction, it's very hit or miss with me. Sometimes I like them, sometimes I don't. But I think this one, since it has themes in it that I do like, I have high hopes. And not only that, but Ellen Hildebrand made a blurb about the book, and she really liked it. So I have hopes for this. We shall see. But this is going to be book number 4. Alright, moving on to book number 5. Moving right along. Okay, that's a 5. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so this is a borrowed book. So I get to pick 4 books that I really want to get to that I'm borrowing from people or the library, and figure out which one it's going to be. Alrighty, so I went through my whole library because I don't borrow very many books at all because, I have so many on my shelves. First one, I'm going to count Good Spirits because that is waiting for me at the library right now. So that will technically be a borrowed book. It can be library or friends. So we have that one. That one's going to be number 1. The second one is from my friend Jen. She had loaned me all 3 of the Summer I Turned Pretty books. The second one, It's Not Summer Without You, is the next one I have to read in the series. And I do have to get these back to her. So we're going to make this number 2. The third one is from my friend Shannon. She loaned out Hooked by Emily McIntyre to me. And to be honest, I have been more intrigued about this one because this is supposed to be Hook and Wendy's story. Peter Pan retelling, and I do know that this is starting a series, so I would like to get to it, but it's not the end of the world if I don't. So this one's going to be number 3. And then the only other book that I am borrowing from anybody right now is my mother, and unfortunately, but fortunately, because she really wants me to read this series, is The Sword of Shannara by Terry Brooks. She has the entire series. She has almost everything that Terry Brooks has ever written. And she does want me to start the series because my mom doesn't really read very often, but she does read these. She reads heavier books like Brandon Sanderson and Terry Brooks. It'll give us something to talk about, and I do know that she has been really hoping that I start this soon. And I have already had it for quite a few months. So it's very dense. And she did warn me that it is going to be slow because it is the first book, but once you get it, the rest of the series is great. This is starting an astronomically huge series. That is the only reason why I really hope it's not this one. But like I said, it won't be the end of the world if it is. So those are going to be our 1 through 4 for our picks. We're going to do this like I have done the last few times, and I'm just going to put it in my hand. Because I tried it the first time and it rolled off and it landed on a 4, so we're gonna double check. Okay, that's a 6. We're gonna roll again until we get a 1 through 4. Okay, that's a 5. Okay, that's a 1. All right, looks like we are reading Good Spirits by B.K. Borison. I have the library book, like I said, ready to go for me. It's Sunday when I'm filming this, otherwise I would have gotten it already and it would be up here. But since I don't, I get to go get that tomorrow from the library, and I guess we're reading Good Spirits by B.K. Borison before the weather starts changing. And I'm really looking forward to that one because I've heard a lot of good things and I am intrigued by it, like a lot. I haven't read a B.K. Borison book before, so that'll be something completely new. But I've been waiting on that since like November, so I'm really excited that I get to read that. Okay, picking up for book number 6. Let's see, all right, that is a 5. So we're going to do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We get to pick a romance. What kind of a romance? Must be a book of the month choice. Okay. I did not have any book of the month picks that were strictly romance. I had already read the ones that I owned. The rest, believe it or not, are either a literary fiction or they're thrillers. Like every single one that I own is mostly thrillers, and all the romance I've already read. So I didn't have any. I decided, since it had to be a book of the month pick and it had to be a strict romance, I decided to look up on book of the month and go through a list of, just a first page look at all the romance that has been a book of the month. And if I had one on my shelves, we'll consider that one a physical TBR read. Now, I scrolled through and I got about halfway down, saw one, and I scrolled the rest of the way just to make sure that there wasn't anything else on there. There was only one. That was a book of the month pick that is a strict romance. We're going to be reading Butcher and Blackbird by Bryn Weaver. I have been really, really excited to start this. I know that this is a romance, but it's like a serial killer hunting serial killer romance. Which sounds so bad, but at the same time, I really like thrillers. So for me, having this is going to be interesting. And I am super excited that I get to add this. This was the only one on that list that I saw that was an option, at least in the first section. I could have went and scrolled down more, but just from the first page look, this is the only one that popped up that I physically own. I was trying to do ones that I already have on my shelves, and this is the only one. So this is going to be number 6 for this month. All right, since that was number 6, we have 2 more left to go. So we're going to roll for number 7. And that would be a 10. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Are you kidding me? Let me double check that. Yeah, we get another memoir, apparently. All right, what's the twist on this one? Must be a Kindle Unlimited choice. Yay! Okay, so it took me a while to scroll through Kindle Unlimited and figure out what book to read because apparently my choices aren't on Kindle Unlimited, and neither are any of the other ones that I have. So much for reading physically. I scrolled through the memoirs for Kindle Unlimited. I was trying to find somebody that I really was interested in reading. That way at least it would be worth it instead of just reading a random book. So I went through a couple of people and I landed on one that I really, really want to read. And that would be Tiffany Haddish. Is one of my favorite comedians. I have almost watched all of her movies. I love her to death. So I really have been wanting to get into her memoirs, and she's only written the 2, but it doesn't matter with me. I get to finally read a Tiffany Haddish. I know that this is at the library as well, so I can either get it from the library or I can read it on Kindle Unlimited. More than likely, it'll be on Kindle Unlimited, but I'm happy, regardless, that it's not on my physical TBR, which is what I try and aim for. This is very, very short, and this would be really awesome for me to read this month. Number 7, we go. One more pick left to do for this month. All right, all I'm hoping for is no more nonfiction. Please do not give me any more nonfiction. I will be mad. Hello? Okay, so we got a 9. All right, 1, 2, 3, 6, 7, 8, 9. You gotta be kidding me. Seriously? Seriously. Okay, so I do not have any other borrowed books on my shelf. I've already picked the Good Spirits one, and I do not have any more. I just don't. So we're gonna just do a 1 through 3. And it's a good thing I didn't put these away yet. I kept them over here by me so I can put them away later. So since we've already gone over them, The Summer I Turned Pretty, second book, the first book in Emily McIntyre's series, and then the first book in the Sword of Shannara series. Let's see which one of these we're going to read. We're going to go with the 1, 2, 3. I did not anticipate it being like this month. This is very weird TBR, but I'm okay with that. All right, let's see. 1 through 3. That one was a 6. Okay. I've hardly touched any of the books on my cart this month. You guys see that, right? Okay, Mom, it looks like we're going to be reading your book this month. I'm actually kind of thankful now that I have all these memoirs and nonfiction on my shelf, because I have a feeling after reading this, I'm going to need something short and sweet. Oh, I'm excited, but I'm scared. This is a 700-page book. 726. I'm not gonna cry. Okay. Alright, Mom, it looks like we're reading Sword of Shannara this month. That took a lot longer than I anticipated. I did not... This has been a very long TBR pick. But you know what? That's okay. It is what it is, and I have a lot of nonfiction on my shelves. I did do really well with getting some off the cart, and I did try to stick with my physical TBR. So I'm kind of happy, but I wish it would have been a little bit better. So just to recap, I fancy say that was a backlist author. First book on her February TBR is going to be Harry Potter and the Half-Blood Prince. I'm also kind of thankful this is on here as well, because this is also a palate cleanser. Something very easy for me to read. I know exactly what's going to happen. It's just a little bit more diving into the world. So I'm also kind of thankful I put this on here. Second choice was a nonfiction that had to be a finisher in a series, but will settle for a part of a series. We chose Chicken Soup for the Couple's Soul. Third one had to be a memoir that I had either seen the movie for already, but we considered it from somebody that I have seen in a movie. We went with Matthew Perry's Friends, Lovers, and the Big Terrible Thing. Next one had to be a literary fiction that had to be on my Spotify. So we went with Good Company by Cynthia Sweeney. Number 4 had to be a borrowed book that we had to roll a 1 through 4 of, and we chose Good Spirits by B.K. Borison. Next one had to be a romance pick that had to be a book of the month choice, but since I did not have any physical book of the month, we decided to go with one that I had owned that doesn't have the book of the month label, which would be Butcher and Blackbird by Bryn Weaver. Number 7 had to be a memoir that I had on my Kindle Unlimited, so we decided with Curse You by Tiffany Haddish. And the last one, we have another borrowed book that I also had to roll a 1 through 3 on, and that was Sword of Shannara, the first book in the Terry Brooks world. This is going to be a very interesting month. I have a lot of thick books in here, but I have a lot of romance. I have a lot of heavy fantasy. And some memoirs that I can read. So I have a lot of palette cleansers this month. And I'm okay with that. So, we'll see how this month goes, because this was all over the place. But you know what? That is 100% okay. I am happy with everything that I picked. And I tried sticking with the physical TBR. It didn't work this month. I tried. But I will be reading a lot of physical books that are in this room. So that's a bonus. I think only two of them. Two of them are not on my physical TBR, so I consider that a win. So thank you guys so much for joining me this month. I really enjoy doing the TBR game. As much as it takes me out of my physical TBR, I always try to stick within it. If you guys like the video, please like and subscribe. It'll help me give you guys more videos every week, and I would love to have you. If you guys would like to follow me on the daily, you guys can go over to my Instagram. I am there almost every single day, so if you want daily updates, you guys can join me over on that. But until then, love you, reach, and drink your teas, and I'm gonna go get started reading some more. Bye! Don't know if you know this too. I'd rather be right here with